we have another tournament here. We have the South Coast 40K GT. This was in England, and it's a 2-day RTT with 5 games. So it's not that many players. That's why we called it a 2-day RTT. Just wanted to point that out. So you guys can take that with a grain of salt if you wish, but still I thought it was something good to go over. We have Tom Green from Mind Goblins. And our boy did bring a Bully Boyz list. So as we've seen, most of the players were Bully Boyz. We went to the Dreadmod player, and now we're at the Bully Boy. So he did do what I thought some kids might do, but I wasn't sure, is the Ghazghkull. Now, I love Gaz. I will say that I'm on the Gaz hype, just like a lot of other people. I've had that Gaz juice, and I love it. I'll just say that he does work in the ways that orcs need, and we can talk about that in a little bit. So we have a Big Mech in Mega Armor, one typical war boss on foot, 2 war bosses in Mega Armors, boom, that's it. So he didn't go overboard with the characters. We don't see triple war bosses. You have 2 units of boys, 2 units of Gretchen, 3 Mega Nobz, all of them with twin kill saws. I do just want to question why, oh why, if so. Did you choose twin kill saws over power claws? I'm very much in for Gaz's unit. I'm very much in favor for power claws on Gaz's unit specifically, as the volume, the critical 5s, and the +1 to wound alongside his sweep attacks just gives you a crazy amount of volume of damage too. Wounding stuff reliably that has maybe a 4-up invuln that you're trying to shoot through, and I think twin kill saws kind of just doesn't take the most benefit from, let's say, a double wall. Now, twin kill saws are still great, especially if you're going into a bunch of high armory armies. So maybe that's the right call. I just wanted to know, point this out for this, and we'll take a look at that as we look at his matchups. Then we have a big unit of Nobz, of course, with power claws. That's that 1 scalpel unit. War boss, get in there. You got to throw this unit away. It's going to kill something and then get deleted. 1 storm boy unit, 2 war biker units. Now it's interesting he didn't go for 2 storm boys and 1 war biker as you see usually. Maybe he thought this is along the lines of something that's kind of tough and this can get shot away from bolters. When my boys are pressuring, someone can be like, well, a small arms fire is not going to work anyways against these guys, so I'm going to shoot those storm boys. It might be that he's like, well, I'm just going to leave bikers there because then your leftover pity fire that you're not willing to put into my Mega Nobz can't really find a reliable home. So maybe that's the case. Could be just a toughness thing, right? And then 3 or 5 5 trucks. So I love to see the trucks coming back. I still think trucks are where it's at, and I like that he still found so many trucks because he kept the characters light in this list. Has some trucks that are just for throwing away with boys and some that are for escorting our big gets. Just another thing to point out here is you do not see the teleporter enhancement on here. So he decided I don't really need to come in on deep strike. I'm just going to run up the field with my 5 trucks. So there we go. Let's take a look at his path to victory, as it's quite important as always. So for Tom Green's list, who'd he go into first? We got Space Wolves, but this is not Wolf Jail. This is the Gladius Task Force. So we do have Apothecary Biologist with the fire discipline for that awesome throttling fire. 1 Tech Marine, very interesting, just 1. A Aggressor Squad, another big Aggressor Squad with Flame Gauntlets, and the other one has the Auto Bolt Storm Gauntlets. A Ballista Dreadnought, an Infiltrator Squad, a Land Raider Redeemer, followed by 2 Scouts, a Storm Strike Speeder, 2 Vindicators, and 2 Wolfen. What I will say is Vindicators are quite awesome into orcs. If you're ever facing Vindicators, is dang, just don't even, if you tag them, they're still going to keep shooting you pretty hard. They do have a 2-up armor save. Vindicators are very much worth their point, so respect them. As for Wolfen, they do hit hard into something that doesn't have a great armor save, but Mega Nobz are at that point, you know, that toughness and that armor save that they can actually tank Wolfen pretty hard and then clap back. So they can take the initiative from you, but it's also one of the only units that Mega Nobz can beat with OC, you know, because they have none. So it's kind of funny. The Storm Strike Speeders here is the compound for buffing. I believe it's +1 to wound on something that it chooses. And then you have the Land Raider Redeemer. Everybody likes that. Every unit's going to have infiltrators, guys. If not 2 units of infiltrators on Space Marines, just keep that in mind, because Grey Knight, Necrons, still very powerful, very much Space Marine players want to screen their backfield. That's why, you know, doing deploys as a fixed secondary isn't necessarily always possible, at least not in your opponent's backfield. It's going to be a mid-table sort of thing because a lot of those infiltrators. Now, these 2 aggressor squads, all I can see here is most of their damage is wanting to come from the mid-table, as you would imagine from a Space Wolf list. And you're just not going to do that into a double Bully Boyz unit with that many Mega Nobz and Gaz. Gaz in a funny way into some of these things, like a big unit of aggressors that want to run and charge into you, or something, or you want to start getting in the way with your Vindicators and say, hey, you can't kill me. Something like a Gaz not only acts as a hammer to destroy something like a Vindicator and pick up the Wolfen that are near it with the Mega Nobz, you know, being there for lethal, but in a way, the Vindicator's there. I mean, it's there to punch out the Land Raider that's getting in the way to hold up the middle of the table. But he acts as a bulwark sometimes to stand in the way when people want to countercharge with something like aggressors. And you're like, well, now you got to eat my Gaz unit, and you're going to punch away 4 or 5 of the Mega Nobz, and then you're going to have to deal with Gaz. And Gaz is going to end up just punching the crap out of you and still doing great. And that's a real problem for something like a Space Marine army, where they just want to hit you and hope you're still not there anymore. And a big problem that always was kind of consistent with orcs when they would fight Marines is you'd come in, you'd hit them, and if they did not get crippled or just straight up die, then whatever their remnant was in their unit would kill you or just fall back and kill you. In this case, you're pretty much demolishing whatever these units are, as they don't have invulns. They're just going based off armor saves, and we have high enough strength to just kind of wound them very effectively for this Space Wolf list. So really, it's more like Wolf Jail that we're scared of than like a Gladius Force, though Gladius Force is very good because the detachment ability is good. Into Bully Boyz, we're just kind of, yeah, you're not falling back and doing all that, buddy. We're just kind of running you over. So then we have Aeldari as his third matchup with the Avatar of Cain, Death Jester, Farseer, Trope, and Yavrin. And then the Fate's Messenger as on the Death Jester. We have 2 trope, 3 trope, 4 trope, 4 tropes, 5 tropes, whatever they're called, of these Harley Quinns. They're fine because he's playing the Incarn, or not the Incarn, whatever it's called, the Aeldari mix of the 2 different things. It's fine. It's a lot of different units that have very special weapons that can do quite good killing potential, so I get why they bring it. We have a Star Weaver, followed by 1, 2, 3 Falcons, with 2 Rangers, a Void Weaver, and another Void Weaver. Here's the thing. Nothing here is holding the line on the mid table, and you're putting everything on the back of the Avatar of Cain. And though he is very durable in most ways, the Avatar of Cain is still getting crumped by Gaz and the man's units. And of course, you're also getting support from the lethal from that. But the fact that he's already giving lethal to his unit on 5s is devastating. All these small units that are running around don't want to even trade with the unit of boys, especially on the wall where now they're getting lethal. They're just like, I'm definitely buzzing saw throwing you. His bikers can end up getting some shots off here. The Harley Quinns have to sorry, the Harley Quinns and the Eldar themselves still have to play the game. Like, these Falcons want to sit back and just shoot you with shuriken cannons, and try to pop your trucks, and you just roll a couple 6s and invulns, or they don't roll enough of their damage, or they don't, allocated enough because they still have to use their miracle dice, whatever they're called. It's not an easy win for them by any means, and these are the kind of armies that we were already running down with the index. So giving Bully Boyz that, just you run them down even harder, and Tom just put up 100 points on him. You have so many trucks, right? Then you have this 4th matchup, which was his actual lowest scoring matchup. Well, Leagues of Votann are difficult for us in many ways, and I'm not sure if they're like a Predator anymore, just because we have so many options and they can't tech for all of them. But they are a difficult matchup if you don't know what they can do, and if the Leagues of Votann are smart enough to token grudge the correct units. If he just chooses like the bad units, like for example, when we were playing Index, they would put it on a trike that a 4 of Feel No. They wouldn't put it on the trike that for a Feel No Pain. Therefore, the trike with the 4 of Feel No Pain could just run up, stand on objective, and be like, well, you're not killing me because I'm not token. So, oops, you messed up. And then you got free game with the Tricog game. Scored all day and tagged everything. So, with Leagues of Votann, we have the Einhir champion with Grim Demeanor, Einhir champion with Appraising Glare, and Einhir champion with a long list. So these are just ways that they're going to compound their tokens. Then we have 3 units of Brokir Thunderkeen and 1, 2, 3 units of Einhir Hearthguard. Now, since this list pretty much just has a couple data sheets, I said, why don't I just go ahead and show you these data sheets? So here's the data sheet. We have a Brokir Thunderkeen. So they're at the T6, and we've seen that they actually brought the Gravitation Blast Cannon. It is a pretty short range, being at 18-inch range. These guys do not have transports from what I've seen on their list. Let me go back to it just in case I missed it. No, he just has Pioneers after that. That's why I said I was going to show you these. So he has no transport. So he's just like 12 inches. Let's go. I'm gonna pop your truck, because it is the anti-vehicle 2+ blast, but it is only strength 5 -2 damage when it's not shooting a vehicle. So that's where it's at. It does do Overwatch on a 5+. He did bring 3 of them. Not sure how effective they were into Bully Boyz, except for we do know this Bully Boy list did have 5 trucks on it. Right? Yeah, did have 5 trucks on it. So it could have gotten value there. Oops, I just erased all the way back. He did get value there. And then we have the Iron here, Hearthguard right up in here, which are their versions of Terminators. So they have the same buff that our Nobz have with defensively, with the characters leading the unit. Each time attack targets this unit, if it's greater than the unit's toughness, subtract 1 to wound roll. They're a nice T6, which feels pretty good. Also, this says character. For orcs, don't get it twisted. Our Nobz only do the -1 to subtract to wound from the war boss leading the unit. So not the pain boy, nothing else. That's how these are different. Now, this unit, let's see what he actually brought. Did he bring the same loadout for all of them? He brought concussion gauntlets, plasma, and then volcanic disintegrator for one of his units. So these are the volcanic as the devastating wounds. So he is trying to get devastating wounds off with his volume from there. They're 3 attacks each. And then he didn't bring the hammer. He just brought the plasma bait gauntlet, it looked like. Did I mess that up? Concussion gauntlet. Concussion gauntlet is strength 9 -2 damage for only 2 attacks. Yikes. That's very low on an amount of attacks, even going into a Bully Boyz unit. And then did he have any that had anything better? Sorry. The volcanic disintegrator is the dev wounds. He had the grenade launcher, the plasma gun. The plasma gun is strength 8 -3, 2 damage. So that's all right when you start doing, and then you have the grenade launcher here for, D6. So you can put a good amount of wounds on everything else that isn't the Mega Nobz. But that's the thing. This army, this list doesn't have anything to soak up, or move block or delay with transports or anything like that. These are all value besides these pioneers, and killing them even value for us because this is what they're using to score with. So I could see that he was very, let's say, hesitant, or maybe it was just a low scoring mission, as he did only score 66 points here. But it could be because each one of these units, they can start just throttling. Hey, I'm going to put double sustain 2 on this Thunderkin brick, and then I'm going to blow away one of your units and all these things. So it is a very unusual Leagues of Votann list. Not really sure what he was doing there, but I just wanted to show the data sheet so you guys can understand the strength of the profiles. And then, of course, the Leagues of Votann's actually buff. So Leagues of Votann do have good combos, but they're just not in a great place as a whole. And you brought no transports, which was typically the weakness against us. Like, we hated that they had so many good cheap transports, and this guy's like, I'm not going to bring any. I'm just going to bring all shooting and thickness. So as for his last matchup, he went into this guy, Matthew Cedric, which ended up getting 2nd place. So he had Yennari. That's what that is called when you mix them up. Sorry. So we have Lilac Nightspear, Yavrin, Farseer, Skyrunner, and then we have Mandrake Rangers. 1, 2, 3 units of Scourges. So Scourges are disgusting. They're very annoying as they have scoot and shoot, right? So they'll pop out with their dark lances. Yeah, las cannons on these little infantry Edit Eradicators. They just jump out and they're like, hello, shoot you, and then they fly, and they have wings, so they do actually fly away. Very annoying. Then you have 2 Shadow Specters, a Striking Scorpion unit, Swooping Hawks, a trope of Harlequins, Warp Spiders. Big units of Warp Spider with Flamers were devastating. I'm surprised they're just gone now. I wonder why. Shroud Runners, Sky Weavers, 2 support weapons, a Warwalker, which is somewhat durable to everyone but orcs and Bully Boyz. And yeah, so as we said, when you're bringing those bikers and those boys and trucks and just 5 trucks as a whole, you really are just closing in the distance on this unit, on this list of Eldar, and you're like, well, you have to play me in the game. And when their shooting doesn't cut it, as it very much might not cut it against the Bully Boyz, because they're disembarking you and then they're trying to kill the stuff inside of it, then they're trying to actually countercharge you, and if a couple of your units stay alive, a couple of your models stay alive, or they're just there for the counterattack, you're just there for the clapback, we'll say, then they're gone and the game's pretty much over for them. So they already had an issue with orcs when we would do that, as they got debuffed before. It wasn't a blowout though. This was a very close game within 3 points of each other. Like in WTC from the Dread Mob list we seen, this would have been a draw. So take that in mind, as it wasn't by any ways easy, but it is their weakness. Even though Eldar is still a very strong army, the fact that he just has so many activation, he's going to just try to keep scoring if he's a smart player. And not really worry about just killing everything. It would be, hey, I kill your scoring units, and then I, get more OC on the objective, as we know that that's pretty much the Bully Boyz' main weakness. So did they have a Night Spinner? Did I miss that? No, that's Great Runner. Okay, I was like, because if they have a Night Spinner, they start slowing your movement. And just disgusting amount of Dark Lances, as you can imagine. You have a little bit of respect, but they can pop a bunch of your trucks. Yeah, Tom did pull this out. So shout out to Tom Greens from Mind Goblins. Whoa! For getting undefeated with the Bully Boyz, even though it was an RTT, it's still pretty dope because that's 2 days of getting good games. And so good job. I appreciate that. And we'll see what else the Bully Boyz brings. I'm not sure still about Bully Boyz on Gaz as a whole, but I will say I can see it just because Gaz himself is disgusting in the game. He's just super good. I appreciate him very much. I'm on the Gaz hype, and he is making it on most of my list. If you enjoyed the clip, check out the full video here. If you'd like to see more tactics, click here.
Let's get stuck in, lads!